Hey guys, subscribe for daily content, and if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks!
What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got a special modification video to share with you guys. So, I'm sure that you all recognize this knife, right? Surely the Benchmade Griptilian, or in this case the Ritter Hogue. This has been a size comparison knife on this channel for years. It's also maintained its status as probably the best sub $200 knife in existence. And it's been the same. I've kept it the same since I bought it, right, years ago. It has seen its fair share of use, both in terms of pocket time and, you know, down here in my office, my dungeon, my studio, whatever you want to call it. But I thought, you know what? It's time for an upgrade. And thanks to Original Goat, which I'm going to share with you guys this card right here, we actually have something that we're going to be installing today. Make sure you check them out. I'll link them right down in the description. They have some amazing scales and other gear that you can use to customize your knives and things like that. And their quality is just outstanding, as you're about to see. So, thanks so much to Original Goat. Thanks to my patrons for supporting me. And please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. So what do we have today? What do we have that we're going to be using to customize the Benchmade Griptilian, or in this case, the Ritter Hogue, for the first time ever? We have some absolutely gorgeous, look at these. These are made in the USA, by the way. Some gorgeous green titanium scales. So they asked me, they were like, you know, I'm not really sure if you would like this color. And I was like, oh, you have no idea. That's like my favorite color for Anno. Because I remember a time period, we got a choice between black and silver screws. I remember a time period where this was just a rare color to have titanium anodized. You just didn't see it as often because it was a little bit harder to achieve. But look at the milling on these. That is just absolutely stunning. I cannot wait to have these installed. We're going to be doing this the way that I usually do. We're going to hyperlapse it with some music so that it's more fun to watch. And so that it doesn't take 30 minutes. So like I said, this, as well as all the other, I mean, you can get these in titanium, aluminum, right? Various anno colors, various texture patterns. Take a look. It's worth exploring the Olone Goat website. It is amazing, the vastness of options they have there. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get these scales installed. Okay, and we're all done. These look absolutely amazing. So a couple of notes. Taking apart an axis lock style, I mean, I understand it's Hogue's is called the Able lock, but this type of crossbar lock, right? If you've never done it before, it's a little bit fiddly, right? I always forget. My way of doing it is to assemble the frame first, and then what you want to do is slide the blade in, and you have to pull the axis bar back, and then you have to slowly push this D-shaped pivot barrel into place. And that can be a little bit tricky because not only are you lining everything up, right, but you're having to push it through with quite a bit of friction. And when I had it completely assembled the first time, I noticed, hey, there's blade play and lock rock. Like, what's going on here? It's because the last teeny tiny little bit, this thing was not pushed all the way in. Once that pivot barrel that accepts the actual pivot fastener, once it's actually pushed all the way in, it really holds everything together. And that's something that I always forget. Every single time I disassemble a knife like this or a Benchmade, right? That last teeny tiny little bit, I actually had to take, it was a, where is it? So this is a little hammer that I use for knocking out watch pins. And I ended up, you know, closing it. Trying to hold this down and at the same time balancing like the cap of a pen and just tapping it in. And that got it to go the last little tiny bit. You can find these things, the little watch repair kits on Amazon, really cheap. Or if you can pick up a little tiny hammer like that, that won't actually do any damage to it. But just light taps and it'll get everything back the way that it's supposed to be. So we got it completely centered. We got the action really good. I mean, it's so great. And of course, the blade play is completely and totally eliminated, which is awesome. These are really, really nice scales. Absolutely. But these came together super well. I was so impressed and got it centered up just immediately. So really, really nice. And the lock is still holding up perfectly. And that's what I like to see. That's the most important part of introducing aftermarket scales. Once again, this is the second time that I have installed scales from Original Goat, and I'm really impressed. This is awesome. So from now on, you'll see the Ritter Hogue. When I do the size comparisons, you're actually going to see it in this form now, which is really cool. The machining on here is nice and grippy without being too aggressive on the hands. And the other nice thing is where this texturing comes together, this center line is really smooth, which means you don't have that friction drag that we normally get with like aggressive texturing when you go in and out of the pocket. That's the first thing I noticed, is the way that these particular scales are milled in and out of the pocket is a very smooth experience with this knife, with these scales now, while you still definitely get the grippiness of the edges down here. So it's a good feel. The scales are, milled obviously to accept not only the cartridge liners, but they're milled out additionally for weight. So the new weight of this knife, I want to say the old weight was something like 4.5 ounces. The new weight is 6.24 ounces. Obviously, this will be less if you go with the aluminum scales, but if you pick up the titanium scales, expect it to add a fairly substantial amount of weight. I mean, 2 ounces is when you're adding it on, it's not a trivial amount of weight. You're going to notice it, right? The balance on this knife definitely has come back a little bit. We're about here, whereas originally we were certainly right behind the pivot. But really cool, and definitely adds a more solid feeling to the knife. That was a lot of fun. Expect more Original Goat modification videos in the future. Very cool. Thanks again to Original Goat. Make sure you guys check them out in the description. There's tons of different scale options for not only the Ritter Hogue, but lots of other knives that we are all very familiar with. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe, because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.